Welcome to the Apostate Sisters interview series, where we hold space for former members of the Worldwide Church of God and other churches of high control. Today, we're thrilled to sit down with LaNisa Frederick, an award-winning actor, writer, voiceover artist, and a fellow survivor of the Worldwide Church of God. LaNisa is a comedic powerhouse, appearing in shows like Brooklyn 99, Young Sheldon, The Goldbergs, and a Black Lady sketch show. As co-creator of the acclaimed Instagram series #Booked, she brings humor and insight to the experiences of actors of color of Hollywood. Not only does LaNisa shine on screen, she's also a dynamic voice talent behind games and animations such as Baby Shark, League of Legends, and Call of Duty: Modern Warfare. And soon, LaNisa will be debuting her new podcast, Black and Cultivated, featuring the stories of Black and Brown cult survivors. So today, we're diving into her experiences growing up in the Worldwide Church of God and looking at how she uses her art to spark dialogue and healing. Here she is.
What's up?
Hello.
How are you? I wrapped the show last night, so we had like a big dinner last night, and it's like the show that we did was absolutely insane. So I'm still like, what day is it? Where am I? A little discombobulated, not gonna lie. I believe, and I'm exploring where my belief sits.
Okay.
I do believe in a higher power. I do believe that there is something spiritual out there. Does it look like the organized religion that I grew up in? No. But no. I think that I do believe there is something.
The Black and Cultivated. Why did I think, who's in that with you?
It's my girl from England. I think she considers herself an atheist, but nothing has been released, but she might say it on her platform.
Yeah.
But I think she considers herself an atheist. And we had that conversation when I interviewed her, because I was like, no, I still believe in God. I still believe in a higher power. I still pray. I just it doesn't look like the organized religion that we all know so well.
Love it. Yep. That's what
I know. WCG's like sure. Organized religion plus.
And it's such a hard balance to figure out, one, what it is and like understanding. And I don't want to spill everything, so tell me to be quiet, but I was just thinking about the fact that like even growing up, it was hard to explain to people what it was and what we do and what we believe in. So yes.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm glad we checked, Pats, because that's the one thing.
Yeah.
Because LaNisa, we noticed that a lot of people from like former WCG, that they find themselves in some sort of like religious organization maybe afterward. Patty and I did too. We were evangelicals for a long time.
Yeah.
So
I think I forgot about church. I forgot about and we'll go into this too, but my mom, we all lived in the same house. My parents were married for 25 years until my dad passed, but my mom wasn't a member. So I always got from her, and she would go sometimes. She would go to the feast. She would go special holidays. She would go on potluck days, stuff like that. But I always remember her saying, like, you don't have to sit here and donate all your money for 5 hours in order to have a relationship with God. And that has always been, I think, my philosophy. So yeah, do I go to church every once in a while with friends? Yes. Do I pray? Yes. Do I know exactly when I sometimes go like God, Allah, Jesus, and Buddha? Throw them all in there. I don't know.
I mean, right? Yeah.
They might all be the same.
Exactly. And I was like, cool, I believe in that. I believe in that.
Yeah. I love it.
That's so good. Well, that's great, actually, because I don't know how much of our channel you have watched, like the other shows outside of the podcast, but we do the Unpack It series where we read Herbert W. Armstrong's BS with our friend Joel, who is a Christian also.
I love it.
He still is a Christian. So it has, like, as much as we think that since we're atheists, we kind of like want to be in that atheist space. It's like we're recognizing that, like Nancy was saying, because so many people coming out of the WCG didn't end up as atheists, or they have, somewhere along a path between that, or atheist and then back again, it's like we can't expect to come to the space of former WCG folks without being able to hold space for that too.
And I think it's like our experiences are what binds us all.
Yeah.
Our trauma bonding. And it's like whatever path people take afterwards, like, all right, so be it. But we all have the common denominator of growing up in the wackiness that we did.
And I like that terminology, trauma bonding. That's good. Yeah. There is like other people that we have interviewed from WCG have said a similar thing. Like we feel like one big family, like we're bonded in our traumas from being raised in the Worldwide Church of God under Herbert W. Armstrong.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I really am grateful.
Oh, yes. I was so excited when I found you, LaNisa. I was telling Patty, I'm like, I need to reach out to her right now because she has like the black space covered from WCG. I don't even know if we really knew anyone who was from a black or brown family in the WCG because we know how racist they were.
I know. Remind me what city you guys were in.
San Jose, California to start. Okay. And then we went to rural Wisconsin. So
there we go.
Big difference.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting that we got this experience in San Jose where like the church had, I think, just had one black family, to tell you the truth. But it was an area that was incredibly diverse. Like when they were telling me that civil rights had happened and so racism didn't exist anymore, I looked around and the block had everybody from every country. And so it was like, well, they're telling me the truth.
Right.
And then I moved to the Midwest and I was like,
oh, okay.
And it was like, okay, we haven't solved it. Good to know. Yeah. But there was one family in our church. And I guess at the time it didn't occur to me to realize how odd it was, the way the demographics looked in the city at large versus within that church.
Right.
But given that, I am so curious to know like how you landed in the church and where and for how long.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take you back. My origin of the church, number one, what you talked about with black and brown families, it's always funny to me because our congregation was, I'm going to say 40% black, 60% white.
Oh,
okay.
So our congregation was pretty dang diverse. And I am curious. I've talked to a few former members from my podcast that were in my congregation, and we did discuss that. And we did realize, too, that there were a lot of big families in it. I'm like, Jen, your family, there was like 20 members that were part of it just because the aunt was in it. Her mom was in it. The cousin was in it. So it was a lot of families, huge families in it as well. But I'll give you my origin. I was born and raised in Worldwide Church of God. I think my dad joined in very late 70s or right before I was born in the 80s. So that's all I knew. I grew up in Cincinnati Central Church in the Worldwide Church of God. And again, like I said, our congregation was pretty diverse. There were several congregations. There was like the East service, the West service, because everybody had a different place that were less diverse. And I do always remember when I would grow up and we would go to maybe the East Church for a service instead. I always remember going like, why is this one not as diverse as the other ones? Why do we get weird looks when we go into here?
Oh,
I'm like 8, so I didn't click on what it meant. But then slowly we just started to unravel and dissect everything. My dad, excuse me if I'm skipping around, but my dad died when I was in grad school, fast forward years later. But I do remember asking him before he died, why this church? What were we thinking? Because by that time I had done some research and saw a lot of Herbert W. Armstrong's philosophies, especially with interracial dating and racism and gay conversion and stuff like that blew my mind. I was like, damn, what were you thinking? And I remember, like, number one, he said, there's no rule book in terms of parenting. And I was trying to just provide a sound moral place. And given at that time, we did not have the Googles. So there were no like Googling, hey, is this dude Herbert W. Armstrong cray cray? There was none of that. So when you join in, it does seem like a decent, morally, kind of fringe, but fine. My dad had grown up with a Baptist father, Baptist minister as a father. He was surrounded by religion. So yeah, it was a little quirky, but surface wise, it seemed fine. Surface wise, it was like, all right, sure. It's when you get deeper, then you're like, wait, you believe what?
Oh, no kidding.
By then you've created a family. By then you've created community. So, and then it's harder to get out then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That really resonates. Yeah. Patty and I, we just didn't really think about WCG for many years afterwards. We wanted nothing to do with it. And then all of a sudden we just started researching it. Right. And we found it on Wikipedia titled as a doomsday cult. Damn. And it was like a light bulb went off. I'm like, holy shit, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And we started researching from there. And it's taken us to this point. We're now in our 40s feeling like we can actually talk about this because as adults, we were able to research and learn for ourselves.
Exactly.
Oh, the things.
I mean, thank goodness for the Googles.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are the generation that had the Googles.
I'm going to call it that now. I love it. It's so funny.
Our parents really didn't. And I always say, nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to join a cult today.
Yeah.
No one wakes up and says that. So I know it's crazy, but I have some understanding with especially how like my folks and so many other members got duped.
Yes, right. I mean, that's the thing we have to keep coming back to when we get angry about whatever thing we're picking apart. Right. And like, why was it like that? It's like, well, they were victims first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that was a very crafty advertising, man.
Oh my God.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was smart as hell. He came to California. Everybody was doing radio gospel then. Everybody was doing like, ooh, this new medium to get the word out.
Yeah. He was at the forefront of it. I mean, He was an early pioneer of televangelism, so to speak.
Exactly.
I'm so glad Armstrong did not have the internet. Can we just
You're right. That would have been, probably 10 times worse.
10 times worse. Seriously. I think about that a lot with like cult leaders. I'm like, what if Jim Jones had the internet? What if Armstrong had the internet? Yeah. Like, I feel like it would have been even more dangerous.
Right.
Yeah.
Those resources at their fingertips. That's a scary place.
Exactly.
Though unfortunately, I think they them having come before like laid the foundation for people to look at what they did, and then they were like, okay,
exactly. The wheels are spinning. The wheels are spinning.
But
that was my origin into it because my dad was in it. I have to say though, I have a very interesting religious background. Like I said, my grandfather on my dad's side was a Baptist minister. My grandparents on my mom's side were Jehovah's Witnesses. And then my aunt was Seventh-day Adventist. So I would skip around to all of these. And they're all connected to somebody.
They are all.
No, I was like, those are the threads that made the WCG.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
So it's like, it was the perfect storm. The perfect crazy storm. I'm like, all of y'all like Saturday church? This is weird. What's going on?
Well, yeah. Saturday's Sabbath.
Well, so how, if you were born there.
Yeah.
Then I'm kind of curious if you have like childhood stories of the feast to share and stuff, but ultimately I'll be curious about like how you got out and, that debate of if the church left you or if you left the church because of all the changes and stuff. So,
Yes.
Yeah. I always found myself skeptical and curious because my family, like I said, my mom was not in. So I had a window out, if that makes sense. I had a window that I was like, y'all saying this, but this is actually what's happening. Because I remember what resonates with me as a child, for the most part, are, for example, not being able to do things on Saturdays. So my mom sneaking us out and being like, your brother has soccer practice and we're going to sneak out before you start church. So your dad can't take you to church. Stuff like that to make us have a normal childhood. Or Christmas. I remember huge fights where my aunt and my dad would get into because she wanted to give us presents. And now that I am an aunt, I'm like, I'm giving my niece a present. And my dad would be like, no, we don't celebrate. You can't give that to them. Then as we got, I'm going to say around 9, a little older, my dad worked at a hospital. He was a hematologist. So he was working sometimes 7 early morning to evening. And my mom would, when he would leave for work, she would bring out a mini Christmas tree and throw the gifts under it. And we go out there, have a quick Christmas, take some pictures. Okay, 3:00, your daddy coming home soon. Wrap it up, put it in the closet. And he'd come in and be like, what did you guys do today? And we'd be like, oh, nothing. We just hung out.
I like your mom already.
I know, I was going to say the same thing.
I think about that. I was like, Mom, what? Why'd you just say no? But I also have to remember, like, the time. I have to remember, like, Midwest, a married woman, in the 80s. Like, it was a different time. It was just different then. It's not an excuse, but we just have to acknowledge, like, the progress that we have made and the progress that we still have to make.
Absolutely.
Right. We just have to acknowledge that. So yeah, those are my huge memories in terms of like how I experienced it. Some of the things that I knew that were weird were like tithing. And we all know how the tithing was.
Oh, yes.
And I remember just being so proud to be able to put like $1 in the basket, or when my dad would get his envelopes with his name on it from Worldwide Church of God to donate or to tithe rather. And I'd be like, oh, we are so official because we get the envelopes. We are officially members. Being so proud of that. But then hearing my mom and dad argue, because my mom is like, yo, your children need to eat. This is, and I remember, I'll never forget, if you donate more, that does not promise that you'll get to heaven any better than anyone else.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was a lot of strain financially.
Oh, yeah.
That I knew, and I knew with other members as well. It didn't, I didn't put all the dots together until I was a little older. But there was definitely huge financial strains that were felt as a child as a result of our 12 different types of tithing that we had to do.
I know. Yeah, it pretty much was 12, wasn't it? Our parents always lived in poverty. They never had money to give to the church, but they had to.
Yeah. I found out when I was doing some interviews with folks that like one of our ministers had his own like private helicopter. Because one of the girls was like, oh, we got to go on his helicopter once. And I remember thinking, wow, my family can't afford groceries, but you have a helicopter.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's the model HWA setup.
Well, exactly. Right. All of his close people that are in his little inner circle,
exactly,
what have you, they were living well, really well.
They were doing A-okay. They were doing A-okay. I think the other thing, if I would point out a third thing that I remember, and this was when I was older as a teen, was how huge interracial dating was a no-no.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend started dating this guy, and I was like, great. We're like 14, whatever. And I remember like the wrath that caused. Like it was World War III to the point where we still talk about it.
Can the church, like it was a church issue?
Yeah. You can't do that. No, interracial dating is not allowed. And it came from a lot of the older white members that were of that old school. I remember finding some old school Plain Truth magazines that talked about how interracial dating was like the next big thing to destroy the world. I was like, really?
Wow. Yep. They just keep finding the next little niche of people that they can vilify and other. It's so disgusting.
It was very disgusting. It's very disgusting.
LaNisa, have you read Armstrong's last book? So we did a 6-part series on Herbert W. Armstrong and the Worldwide Church of God. It was like a timeline of events, kind of like how did this kick off? Where was he coming from? What was his mind? What did it eventually turn into? I think his last book was Mystery of the Ages, if I'm not mistaken. And it was one of the most racist things I've ever seen, I've ever read. Even worse than his Great Britain in Prophecy book. It was
worse? Okay, hold on 2 seconds.
Oh, sure.
3.5 seconds.
Are you serious?
Oh, boy. There it is.
Now, I have not need to dig into it. So when I wanted to go down my journey as well, I went home and took everything that I could find that my dad had. Yeah. Because my mom don't throw nothing away. So I took all of it, everything he has, and I was like, got this one.
A physical copy. Wow.
Right? Isn't this wild?
And you haven't read this, you said?
I have not yet.
You will not like it one bit.
So you think this one is worse than the other one?
The things that Armstrong says in there, he uses terms like white strain. And I forget exactly. Do you remember this, Pat? We were talking about it in our timeline.
Yes, I do. It's like, I remember saying that I think it was like his filters were coming off. You know, he was so old and losing it that like,
right?
Yeah, he really was. He wasn't holding anything back. I think it's like more the second half of the book, LaNisa, where he goes to town on the racism thing. Yeah.
Which is so wild. I'm like, how? I have so many questions for so many people.
Right. Yeah.
Wasn't his wife Filipina?
No, just white.
I swear he had a Filipino wife too. Or maybe, I don't know. Let me not start.
I think that was the servers on his private jet.
Yeah. That was one of his many whores, from what I understand.
What?
He went to the Philippines at least a couple of times, and there were all kind of shenanigans that happened on that flight, LaNisa. We researched all this, and we were just like, oh, he managed to hide a lot. And even if his members got word of it, he found a way to squash it. They're just like, oh, that's Satan trying to deceive you through these people.
Wow, as they do. As they do. That's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's where the Filipino comes in.
I was like, I swear there's a Filipino lady that no. Yeah.
No.
He did have that second wife though, which didn't last long.
Okay.
He was really good though when it got to the 80s and his 1975 end of the world hadn't happened. He realized he had to rebrand, and so that was when he did all the like, oh, I'm setting up these schools. Oh, I'm doing this philanthropic work over here. And so he like shifted who he was for the donors to come in.
I need to go through your series because I didn't understand the jump and the correlation between the end of the doomsday prophecies and like how that transitioned to like really getting Ambassador College up and running, really like opening up other doors. It's like, oh, you're running out of people and money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He found a way. He gave himself the title Ambassador for World Peace. And literally bribed people, LaNisa, to get audiences with people like the Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. Yeah. You know, that's because he donated hundreds of thousands of dollars that was donated in tithe money from his members who all lived in poverty so that he could get meetings with world leaders and get more money coming in and get his Plain Truth magazine in these countries. And it was just disgusting. It
was the images too that got me. When I think back growing up, seeing him and being like in awe of this guy talking to Margaret Thatcher, talking to like important people that we were told were important. We're like, that's my minister. That's fine. So
Well,
of course we're suckered in. We're like,
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
And that was
he
his
knew.
goal. Yeah.
Right.
Like, our father took pride in the fact that Herbert W. Armstrong rode around in a Rolls Royce in England. I'm like, yeah, that's on the backs of all your money.
Oh, yeah.
You kidding me?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so sick.
Yeah, you'll like that timeline series of ours. I think it's 6 episodes where we discuss it, and the first one is definitely the most watched, and the most that we get from people. Yeah.
Oh,
Can we just sit and stew for a minute in our annoyance and anger at Armstrong and just be annoyed that he was that manipulative? Like, just for a minute, just make all our angry faces about it.
Why?
There.
Okay, well, I think we got our images for the thumbnail. Thank you.
We did it.
I was wanting to come back to, it's Ohio, right? You said Cincinnati.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I can't help but notice that currently one of the loudest voices in the WCG offshoots is the Restored Church of God, which is based in Wadsworth, Ohio, run by David C. Pack.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And, you know, I was following, doing a little reconnaissance work. I was following on YouTube some of their stuff that they put out, the Restored Church. And it's like a carbon copy that got twisted of the Worldwide. It's so bizarre. You know, it's like, instead of The World Tomorrow, it's like Tomorrow's World or something like that is the show they make. I mean, it's like, like you stepped into the Twilight Zone, really, right? Or like an alternate universe or something. But what I notice is that so many of the productions they put on from their Ohio location, it seems to be a very high percentage of Black people that are in attendance. And so I'm wondering, like, how much of the area you were in, if those folks traveled over and like stuck with the Restored Church when it split off.
I don't know, because I feel like my dad, when it crumbled, went to Grace Communion.
Oh, that's the new name of Worldwide, right? They renamed it that in like
the doctrine changes
2009.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what's the other one? There's another one called isn't there another
United Church of God, I think, is the biggest one. And they're like a snapshot of WCG around the time that Armstrong died. Yeah.
Well, Philadelphia is probably the worst because they also have a college that looks exactly like Ambassador College, like exactly. Like, some people get them mixed up, the two of
Even
them.
the building, they made the same building, LaNisa.
Are you serious?
Yes.
It's
so
watch
funny.
it. Watch our series. We cover all that. We're just like, this is ridiculous.
Okay.
This is so stupid. And he's
I'm kind of like, you know what? Let me pause and watch everything and then come back, because I had no idea. Idea. I remember my dad would go to one, and it was like the offshoot that believed in the newer version of Worldwide Church of God. And I was still like, I'm still not going there. This is still ridiculous.
Grace Communion was that one. Yeah.
Maybe that was Grace. Maybe that was Grace Communion. And I don't remember. I wasn't going by then. Maybe I'll go into my end of it. Honestly, I remember when I got to high school, I was like, hey, this feat, because I went to high school, I had to test to get in. It was pretty rigorous. It was, we were taking AP classes, and I really wanted to focus on that, which also in itself is interesting. Someone brought up the point, like, do you think you, became an entertainer because you saw so much false shit in church? And so you're like, oh, I know how to act. And I was like, never thought of it like that, but thank you.
That's hilarious.
It kind of tracks. 2, you studied really hard. Was that your escape? That you were like, fine, I'll focus on education because it's my escape and it's my way out. And I was like, I never correlated that, but that could be the case. But I remember telling my dad around that time, when I started getting into high school, I was in marching band and all this stuff. I'm like, I can't do the feast. I am not leaving for 2 weeks to go somewhere in order to have church every day when I have all this homework. I'm missing all these classes. I want to go to college. And luckily my mom was in agreement. So it was kind of like we would maybe stay more local, or, it wasn't as much of a commitment. And then I will say, like, by time I left home for college, because I was like, I know I'm getting out. I was like, I'm not going back. So I feel like mine was like a trickle down effect. And then by then I was like, I'm just not going. I'm not going anymore. It wasn't even dramatic. I was just literally like, we're done.
Yeah. Well, what year was that? Was that before or after the doctrinal changes?
That was around, I'm going to say 99, 2000.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. You were in it a little bit longer than we were then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when he died.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That happened in what, 96?
94 was the Christmas sermon where Joseph W. DeKoch gave that bombshell of a sermon saying, hey, we're a new covenant church now, and half the people left. Our parents, of course, weren't having it either, so they were floating around for a while and went to find another cult leader who had a legit commune in the middle of South Carolina, which split our family apart, but yeah, we cover all that. Yeah,
nice.
I
know. Oh, it's so sad how belief systems can do this to us.
I know.
A registered pedophile of all things as well.
Yay.
Which, hey, Herbert W. Armstrong was also a pedophile. So
I have heard those rumors too.
Yeah. There were court filings about it, LaNisa. Yep, I heard some of the recordings, actually. I did manage to find some. And part of the agreement between him and that young new wife of his that he ended up marrying, she was not to speak about anything that happened between him and his daughter back in the 30s. So there were a lot of people that knew, because towards the end of Armstrong's life, again, he got old, he got senile. He just admitted to all of these things. Like, he just didn't care anymore. Kind of like Trump, where he's just like spewing bullshit out of his head. But like, he means this stuff. That's the scary part.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, right? And we kind of laugh because we don't know what else to do with those big feelings we have about that. But yeah, we've seen this way of treating other people, and it's not good.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I know.
Yeah, I think that and I don't know how your folks are, but I do get curious, like this is why I wanted to start interviewing a lot of folks that were in it. I do get curious, like, where is their mindset? Like my friend's parents, she was like, they were destroyed after that. And I get it, because her mom had grown up in it, had prepared for doomsday, and what was it, 72, 77, whatever it was, had prepared for that. She went to a college. That was her world. So like afterwards they were just utterly destroyed.
Yeah. Well, it messes with your mind so much when all of a sudden you gain clarity and you're like, everything I was taught to believe.
Absolutely.
Like I call it my Terminator 2 moment. Like, everything I was taught to believe was bullshit. It's devastating on people. There were a lot of suicides because of families split apart, including ours. It just, marriages broke apart, and not just in the church, but when it split apart and changed the doctrine, that was almost as bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was no accountability. Did you guys listen to Koch's, what was the Chosen Church, the other podcast that she had him on? It was like the last episode, and I actually found it a little cathartic.
The Unchosen Church, I definitely know of that podcast. Yeah.
So when you say cathartic, can you explain kind of what that was like, the experience of hearing him again?
First of all, it was surreal to hear Koch again, because yes, Herbert Armstrong was always a figure in our lives. Koch was clearly, obviously, like the next figure in our lives. So there was this aura of who he was. So hearing what I said earlier about accountability and people not taking it, hearing what he said about the church, hearing what he said about his decisions within it, there felt like a sense of accountability and a sense of, I acknowledge that I was wrong and I did screw up people's lives, that I hadn't heard from any elder in the church.
No.
And I'm sure you haven't either. I haven't heard from anybody being like, yeah, we messed up huge. And we fucked over a lot of people. And I felt like I heard that from his interview. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. I appreciated that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what more could we ask for at this point?
Exactly.
You know, when it has already occurred.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some sense of accountability.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that he did that. Yeah, I definitely have to go listen to that. It would be amazing to hear him. I mean, I assume you've seen the documentary Called to Be Free as well.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
That came out in when was it? Early 2000s, I want to say. But they did this short documentary. Of course, Joseph W. DeKoch was at the forefront of that, where a lot of the church elders who went along with the changes, Grace Communion, because they kept the name for a while worldwide, and then they changed to Grace Communion. But they were just talking about how everything just kind of started to crumble after Armstrong died. And then they all started to see, well, this is not actually what the scriptures say. So they came together, and that's when they're like, okay, we need to change this because it's wrong. And we've been believing it for this whole time. So yeah, they really took a gamble there, knowing that their church would fall apart,
and that a lot of people would be angry. And there were.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is absolutely the piece that I don't know that I've given enough thought to. I mean, I was 16, 17 14 at that 94 speech, you know, the big changes, the big drop of that. But, you know, within 16, 17 years old is where I was just more interested in doing my own thing because I was a teenager. I was in public school. And so I could focus on that and my grades, just like you know, and that gave me enough validation that I didn't feel like I needed to know that I was in God's kingdom or whatever anymore.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. I mean, so if one thing I would say was my parents' fatal flaw in the indoctrination of me, it was thinking that public school was where they should put me, you know? I mean, because it was like, oh, now I know that there are things outside of that. And holy moly, if they had homeschooled me and I never saw that,
can you imagine?
I just shudder. And homeschooling was kind of big for some years of the church, it sounds like.
Yeah, I didn't really experience a lot of folks around us that went to homeschool. Ironically, we were laughing that a lot of us ended up going all to the same public school. So there was like, understanding in numbers because we had, you know, I'm like, oh, she goes to church with me, I'll see her Saturday. She goes to church, I'll see, you know, so we all were there. But I do remember certain things that felt very, going back to childhood stuff too, that felt very isolating. Like, I don't know about you guys, but we would get pulled out of Halloween parties. And, you know, this is back in the day too, where the schools didn't really know. They ain't really focus on like the well-being of the kids. So we would get pulled out, but have to sit like next to the party. So we're literally just being like, but they right there. They're right there.
Really? Oh, we got taken home.
Yeah.
Oh, no. We didn't get to go home. Our parents didn't pick us up. I remember there was another kid. We grew up together, same grade, same age, and we would just be pulled out of the party. If we didn't get sent to the outside of the room, we just sent to the corner of the room and watch everybody else party.
What a mind fuck.
Okay, what about Valentine's? Because for us, it was, we couldn't have actual Valentines. You know, we couldn't purchase things that had red hearts and said Valentine's. But if we made our own cards, we could hand them out. And then and at that point we were allowed to receive them so we could eat the candy. How did your parents navigate that?
It's so weird. I think ours was pretty similar, but then again, my mom also, I think, snuck us cards. Like, here, y'all can do some cards too. But it's funny you say that. The script that I've written about a little girl experiencing a doomsday cult is based around the fact that she wants to go to a Valentine's Day dance. Because I remember dances for us, similarly, it was like we couldn't have a Halloween party dance. We could have a dress up dance the week after Halloween. What?
Not the same. I got you.
Just on that one day.
Like, oh, October 31st, that's the Devil's Day. But next week, I actually have a picture I'll share of us all in costume. And I remember being like, it's the same thing. Halloween was just last week.
We were never allowed to wear a costume ever.
Nope.
Like not even like the clear opposite side of the year.
Really?
Isn't it funny all the weird little ways that all the different parents tried to like do the thing they were supposed to do?
Yeah. How did you guys experience Christmas? I'm just curious.
Oh, we didn't.
As though it was the day after December 24th.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah. LaNisa, we often make the joke that like this was already an extreme church organization, but our parents were on the extreme side of that extreme.
Yeah.
Like you have people that even celebrated birthdays. I don't know if your father did. Our parents didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of church members did not. We did. I will
Heathen.
say, I know we are heathens.
Pagan.
But I also say that again, mainly from my mom's side. My mom, we're throwing the party. I don't know if my dad would have had it not been for my mom being like, no, she's having cake.
Yeah.
So very, very similar.
So what did your mom think about all this? Like your dad. So,
I ask her all the time and I'm like, why? And even going into doing the podcast, I asked her, I was like, are you okay with this? Like,
yeah.
I am spilling some stuff about the fam. Like I am sharing things. And in reality is you were like, sure, you can go to this crazy church. But she'll just respond with, hey, I knew things were very weird.
Yeah.
I didn't know how weird. And I think in our congregation, a lot of stuff was hidden and there was a lot of community. You know, my dad would pick up church members and take them places. We had this sense of like making sure that everybody was taken care of. So I think we got to see a surface level of it that there were things obviously harmful, but a surface level of things that made it okay.
Yeah. I actually really appreciate you having mentioned community and, you know, the things that make it okay. Because for Nancy and I, for sure, it's been really easy to be more on the angry side. And maybe that's just a phase in the process of unpacking it all. Yeah. But like when you talk about community, like, isn't that the goal of, or shouldn't that be the goal of what a faith group or a religious group could be? You know, and we can call it whatever we want, I suppose, but that's what we all need.
Absolutely.
We all have our.
I can't deny the fact that there was community for us in the church.
Right.
That's how it felt as a kid. Now that I'm older, I heard there was some shit talking because my mom wasn't in the church. And I it to a friend, and she goes, "Oh no, your mom got talked about a lot."
We have heard that. We have absolutely heard that. A very good friend of the channel, JJ, who does some of our social media videos and stuff, he had the opposite situation. His dad didn't attend. And so they were always like on the outs. Like even the other kids would kind of bully him and his brothers because he didn't have a dad around. Like clearly God wasn't, you know, like favoring y'all like they do us. I mean, messy shit.
Yeah.
Well, and at least up until sometime during the 70s, the divorce and remarriage program was still in place and conveniently ended around the time when Armstrong remarried. Yeah.
Exactly. All of a sudden he realized, like, wait a second, we're going to lose more members if we... Do you remember they had single dances.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Which is so wild now that I think about it. I interviewed an older lady who I considered like someone that I trusted as like another mom figure within the church. Because I asked her, I was like, why did you, why'd y'all say yes to this? What was going on? And again, she said, look, the pamphlets we got in the beginning, nothing had all the crazy stuff in it. There was no Google. And I was like, I got it. But I remember she told me a story about going to a single dance because at the time she was single. Her kids were my best friends. And she was dancing with a white guy and she's a Black woman. And a member came up and said, oh, no, we don't do that there. We don't do that here. You can't do that here. Keep in mind, this had to have been like the 90s by this point because her kids are the same age. But I remember because I was like, oh, all the single people are going to the single dance. That's cute. And she told me this story that honestly hurt me years later because I'm like, damn, you were really just trying to have fun and go to a dance. And that happened.
Yep.
So they fucking segregated the dance even though they didn't.
Yeah. It's so weird.
I mean, I'm not really surprised.
I know. Right.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised. LaNisa, I'm married to a man from India. Our brother was married to a Black woman. You can imagine how our parents reacted to both of those.
Wow.
Patty was the good daughter marrying a white Christian man at the time, evangelical. And then we got worse from there.
Right. Like, you guys failed. Sorry.
I guess.
I know. We could not stop the apostasy.
Did they bring up Herbert, philosophies but it's still embedded?
Our parents like the silent treatment. And so my mother just kind of purses her lips and like, she's upset about something, but we're grown adults now, and they didn't like when I started dating him. In fact, she started talking about ISIS for some weird reason, and that I needed to be careful and watch my back and things like that. Not in those so many words, but it's
so bad. It's so bad.
It's really bad, and I've connected and loved him more than anyone, and he was raised Hindu. He's not Hindu now, but I mean, it just. I've always been attracted.
Be careful of ISIS. What?
Why in the fuck did her mind go there?
You know why? Brown. I'm sorry. That's why. That's how bad that is. Right? Like that's the level of not understanding how people are in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ignorance. Sorry. It's like ignorance on display.
It's very dangerous. It's so dangerous.
Yeah. Really. Right. I mean, I always talk about people should believe true things, and whatever we can do to facilitate people believing true things, we make better decisions when we believe true things, especially about each other.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Did you guys, when were you able to call it a cult?
I want to say 5 years ago after finding it on Wikipedia, just calling it that.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that the same for you, or has it been a while?
I noticed that I still had hesitancies because how we define cult is so up in the air. Mm-hmm. And there's stigma. There's stigma around being called, saying I was raised in a cult. Because that's the reality of it. We were raised in a cult. But no doubt. Stigma behind it, and then people have questions, and it's a lot. Yeah. I also think from the perspective of a Black person, it is something that is hugely stigmatized. White cults are seen as white people things within the community, within the Black community. So to be like, hey, I was raised in a cult, immediately it was like, oh, so there are Black people in cults? Like, mind is blown.
That's so interesting. I don't think I don't know that I thought of it as a white person thing.
Well, if you think about too, when you think about in general how the media portrays people in cults, it's usually a white perspective.
You're right. Yeah.
Rarely do we see people of color represented in cult. Like when I think about when all the cult docs came out that everybody was loving, like the Nexium one and all that stuff. Like you see it from a white perspective and no one ever talks. You're like, all right, see, white people shit. So there's a lack of conversation around people of color within. And I'm like, nah, we there too.
And that's why, LaNisa, I was so surprised when I came across your podcast, Black and Cultivated.
Yeah.
Because you interview people of color that were within the Worldwide Church of God. And the first thing that ran through my mind, aside from like, that's fucking awesome, is how do you have enough people to interview? Because again, there was one Black family when we were growing up, and that was California.
Yeah.
In the 80s. And so I was just really surprised by that. This is amazing what you're doing and finding people to tell their story.
We're out here. Now, the podcast is branching in terms of just people of color that have been in cults, period. And I wanted to purposefully not have everybody Worldwide Church of God. Because honestly, I could have done the full first season with just Black people in Worldwide Church of God. Because when I announced it, everybody was like, I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk. And I'm like, oh. So I had to tell some people, you know what? Let me do you season 2. I interviewed a guy he's in Florida now. We didn't grow up together. I didn't know him, but we're around the same age. So it was very fascinating to hear his experience. Similar and a little different, being a Black person in Worldwide Church of God. I interviewed a woman who is older. She's probably around my mom's age. And she was telling me, she's like, oh no, I remember when the churches literally had segregated seats for us. And I was like, wait,
oh my gosh,
what? What are you saying?
In Florida,
she was at that time, I think, in Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
She was in Texas. I was like, what are you saying to me?
Either of those surprise.
Right. So we're out here. It is not something that is often, I feel, talked about, which is why I'm excited to dig deep into it. Because, yeah, it's complex. And the road to healing, I feel, is discussion.
Yeah. And having a new community where people actually, support
Exactly. Because like what you said in the beginning, how do you explain what you were in? Only we get it. I grew up, I don't know about you guys, I grew up telling people I was Jewish because I didn't understand what we were.
Yes. I think maybe we did that from time to time too, Pat, right? That or Seventh-day Adventists, just because no one else knew what the fuck Worldwide Church of God was, but they knew about those.
Exactly. I used it to try to explain it. To be like, all the Jewish stuff and like the Sabbath and stuff. We do those things, but we're not Jewish. I don't know. Figure it out. I just know I can't. Well, the not eating pork was a big one.
Huge.
That one definitely set us apart and made things different, moving into the real world a little bit. So you've been working on a new project, your Black and Cultivated podcast, which you were talking about a little bit. But I'm kind of curious, like, you are also an actor and you do voiceover work and all kinds of amazing things, writing too. And so I'm curious where the end of the WCG went for you to step you through these places where you're an amazing creator and now are stepping into a space of standing up and sharing stories of other Black and brown cult survivors. So like, what were those steps from ending WCG time to now speaking out against it and having your own whole career in the middle of that? Amazing.
I wish there was like some like huge firework explosion of an ending, but there wasn't. Again, my leaving the church had mainly to do with the fact that I left home to go to college. So once I would count down, I remember counting down because I was like, I ain't going to that church no more. I ain't doing any of that. I want to do what I want to do. And very grateful that my parents were very supportive of that. I think my mom, especially so, because she was raised Seventh-day or Jehovah's Witness, and they wanted to not let her go to college. She said she remembers when she was about to go, she was looking at schools that church members came to her house, Jehovah's Witness church members came to her house and said, no, she should not be going to college. She should be giving out Watchtower magazines on the street. So I think there was a fire in her that I don't know if she's ever expressed, but I think there was a fire in her that was very adamant that I would be going to college. And by that time I was over the church. I was over like having to leave for 2 weeks to go to the feast. I was over like these Saturdays where I needed to go to rehearsal instead because I was starting to get into theater, into music more. So as a result of that, I just remember coming home and was like, I want to go to the school in Chicago and I want to study theater. And luckily, very blessed that they were very supportive of that and allowed me to go. When I came back during holidays or during, like breaks, yeah, sometimes I would still, and I think at that time it might have been Grace, I can't remember, would go to the other church. And I just remember sitting there and being like, are y'all still doing the same damn thing? Like this is the same BS. So I recall that and remember being like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it kind of fizzled out. And I do think, as I mentioned earlier, I had an interview and the guy did say, do you see a correlation between your work in entertainment and your growing up in a cult where you had all these dramatic leaders acting out? I was like, never have I thought about that. But now that you say it, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What we grew up with and the fire and brimstone, the huge, orchestration of whatever, you're going to hell. Like even the images that we grew up with, thinking about that, it is very dramatic. That is very theatrical. And I gravitated towards that. And then, just started doing that that's very blessed and lucky that I have found a path, in entertainment, as a result. I think pandemic-y time is when I really started digging deeper into the church and understanding what I had gone through and what we had gone through collectively. And that's when I wrote my script about a little girl discovering the truth about her religion, about her church, which is a comedy called Church Candy. So it was around that time I started doing more interviews with folks that had been in the church. And I think that was a lot of my aha moments. A lot of the time that I was like, oh, we need to talk. Okay. And because there's a lot of stories out there, as you know, and a lot of people out there that haven't shared their story yet. And they too are victims and deserve to have a voice as well.
Yeah.
The longest, long-winded answer ever. I hope it answered what you were asking.
Marvelous.
So good. And I got to tell you, LaNisa, I wanted to be an actor when I was a child as well. And Patty and I obviously were deconverting like publicly here and deconstructing this ideology from our minds. And we're coming to all these crazy conclusions as well, just like you are, just talking it through with people. And the light bulbs are going off.
Yeah.
I realized like I kind of wanted to be an actor because I could pretend to be someone else. I could be all these other people. I just didn't want to be me anymore. I hated my childhood. I hated the church. I hated everything about it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to escape. And I think I never actually pursued it aside from being in a few like commercials and I'm featured in some documentary somewhere. That was it. But I think, my mindset was I just want to pretend to be other people. I didn't want to be me.
Totally makes sense.
Deep, right? Woo! That's amazing that you were able to talk those things out and make the connections with your childhood, because you're right. Anyone who was not raised in the Worldwide Church of God is not necessarily going to get it. Those of us that were in it, like we do understand, no matter what path we're on now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's also hard because it's not one of the ones, as we talked about earlier, that is widely known.
Right.
And people have challenged and said like, well, what made it so bad? Like, well, you didn't suffer. And I'm like, that doesn't mean that other people didn't suffer.
Right. Right. Swift from Netflix show Haunted. I mean, get conversion therapy. You know,
not everyone experienced that, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't harmful.
Right. Well, even just the baseline ideology to make people think that that is everything that must be done to have a hope of of existing beyond this life or whatever. I mean, and to just make, I don't know, the guilt and the shame that was layered onto people
guilt
as
and
a
shame is
result
huge.
of it. I
It was
mean, that
horrible.
has long lasting effects on who we are as people, you know, and I think you were really lucky, LaNisa, to have your mom as a voice of rationality in the middle of that, you know, because we say this a lot, but it's like, as a kid, they could tell you that everything that was blue, that is actually orange, and you wouldn't know the difference. You would just call it that until someone told you different. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a really big deal that we talk about this and understand like the deep level of change that was put into our minds and how we see the world.
At an early age.
Right. I mean,
Right.
from the beginning,
From the
literally.
Did you guys also save up for Petra?
Oh God.
I don't know.
I don't know. They did.
I think our parents fully thought that it was going to be a Jesus thing, doing the like whisking us away to Petra. I never got the sense that there was like a, oh, we're going to get the call and then book our plane ticket. I never thought of it that way. Is that how you all planned for it?
That's how my brain thought. So I was very confused. I mean, I was a kid. So I was just like, are we on Delta? What do we do?
Yeah, I just assumed it was magical. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had forgotten about Petra actually until we had researched it too. But just to clarify for our viewers too, because we have a lot of content creators that we collab with and people that watch us in the atheist space. Yeah, Petra was the place of safety for God's chosen people, meaning all of us. Yeah. Yes, or at least the people that stuck with it. Yeah, Petra Jordan of all places. Armstrong picked.
I had a lot of questions. How are we getting there? What do we take? If it's only 144,000, then who gets left? There are a lot of questions I had. Nothing was answered.
No, as in fairy tales, they usually aren't. It's funny how that works. Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, that is just a wild thought. Like, sit for a second and think about it. Like, if we actually thought that now.
Right. I think one of the tithes was supposed to be, was it supposed to be like saved? Because their first tithe was like for the ministers. Is that right?
Yeah, that was like the standard 10% to the church.
Standard 10%. Yeah. But then there was like one that was supposed to be for the feast. So I think that was the second. And then maybe the third was like for widows, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. It's to help people in the church. I mean,
which no one ever got.
Yep. No. That's right. I mean, but they could give it to one or two people and then, you know, bring them up on stage or tell their story. And then it sounds like they're doing that all the damn time, but they just did it once.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yay, marketing.
Marketing was smart. They did well there. They were like, y'all.
I know, right?
Really smart. Armstrong found a way to get people to, like widows, to sign over their houses and any other property they had to the church so that when they died, all their kids would not inherit it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yep. Isn't progress wonderful, everyone? Yay, progress.
I mean, David C. Pack of Restored Church does the exact same thing now, too. He keeps setting the end date. And he said, if you're sitting on funds, if you're sitting on properties, you're going to have, I forget how he worded it, but basically you're going to have good, bad luck for a while, you know, for years. Things are not going to be good for you because you don't have the faith.
So is he in the realm of apocalyptic doomsday? We're about to die. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's Armstrong
new dates, like every few days. It's really like it makes my head explode. It makes my head explode with anger. It makes my head explode with absolute disbelief of how people can listen to him give 50 different end of the world dates in a given year and still be like, yeah, okay, I guess he found a new thing in the Bible. God gave him new insight. Like, what the actual fuck, y'all?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
It's heartbreaking.
I mean, it is. Like, I want to laugh because I don't know what to do with it. But you're right. Yeah. It's like we should be so sad and like kind of disappointed with ourselves
Yeah.
that exists still.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Now I got to research him. I'm like, this dude sounds wild.
Good. You can help us take him down.
Oh, let's go.
That's our goal. Well, he is the one that our mother was indoctrinated by for up until just a couple years ago. She finally got out because after the church split apart in 94, where were all the splinter churches? You know, they hadn't really come out yet.
Right.
The doctrine was starting to change. People knew it, and these the upper echelons of Armstrongism, they all went and started their own churches, but there wasn't many options for people who wanted to stay with the original doctrine, and so they went off in different places. Well, our parents eventually found their way to David C. Pack and Restored Church of God. Our father was excommunicated for asking questions, such as like sending him letters, what constitutes a day? You're out of there. You question me? God's end time prophet? How dare you? You're getting the fuck out of there. Our mother stayed for a while, maybe just despite our father, or she was just embarrassed by him questioning authority. But yeah, research David C. Peck. Our mother eventually got out of there just a couple of years ago because she said he's a little controlling.
You think?
For someone like her mother to go that length to say, oh, he's a little controlling. Yeah, it takes a lot. So research David C. Peck.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Good times, yeah. I know. Hopefully you'll get some former Restored Church of God folks on your podcast
yes,
too.
I know.
And I think it's actually really important that you're doing what you're doing about the WCG. And a reason that we talk about for being out here is that I think, you know, now Nancy and I are on the atheist side of this spectrum, but we recognize not all the WCG folks are. But what's important is for people who are making it more to a non-believer type of space, I don't think the Worldwide Church of God or its offshoots is like really all that known. You know, as like we discovered at a conference we went to, there was some people who remembered like the Garner Ted days, and they remember hearing about it back then. Because I think Garner Ted was a fucking celebrity. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But so what I think is kind of cool then is we can bring the WCG stuff and be like, guys, there are hundreds of thousands of people with these ideologies that are probably out there floundering their way through evangelical churches, non-denominational churches and stuff. And like, it's probably going to be important that non-believing communities and like deconstructing communities are aware of these ideologies so they can like be here and be able to form a little bit of a gotcha net, you know, of like, you need a place to land. Like, hey, we're talking about the stuff you probably want to hear. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Because I just don't think there's been that safe space for Worldwide Church of God, Armstrongist folks. Yeah. So so here we are.
Like things just stopped and no one just talked about it.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous because, like you said, that's the breeding ground to then form a new cult.
Don't you think Armstrong trained that into us a little bit to not talk about it? I mean, I feel like it was very intentional and it proved to work because, it was like just, except everybody was dealing with their shit still.
But
still
don't talk about it. I did, and I'm glad that you actually said that because honestly, I accounted a lot of it to Midwest. Because, you know, in the Midwest, you don't talk about your business. You keep your business inside. This is what you don't share with other people. But you're right. A lot of it is the fact that once it was, I think a lot of it came from embarrassment as well. Yes. People were so embarrassed. So then you hide away and you don't talk about it. And then again, it's a breeding ground for new cults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just as dangerous.
Right. There's a lot out there that are very similar.
Yep.
And really, really dangerous because not only are they going to be able to use what they learned from Herbert W. Armstrong and latch on to the people who already had that indoctrination, then they have that opportunity to take that incredibly fertile ground and take it to the next yucky level. Are
you familiar with, oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. I told y'all I was semi hungover and tired.
You're doing great.
Oh my God.
You're fine.
If you don't know, then you have to know him. Where is she?
Former member?
So Katura Tops, House of Yahweh. Do you know about House of Yahweh?
Oh,
We do.
we've heard of it because our friend Joel did a thing on all of the offshoots. But yeah, House of Yahweh, I know, is like a little different.
It's a little different, but when I started researching it, because one of my guests on my podcast came from that founder used to go to Worldwide Church of God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He went there and then did a crazier offshoot.
Yeah.
That was it. She lived in the commune. She was about to marry him. She was like 16.
One of those?
Yeah. But when I was reading it, when I talked to her, I was like, so we actually have something in common. Your leader went to my church. So he was trained under Armstrong and then was like, oh, this is not extreme enough for me. I need to go crazier. And he did.
Right. And I've heard House of Yahweh is one of the worst too. Our friend Joel, who he's also still a Christian as well. He knows the Bible very well. And he's been reaching out to people of these different splinter churches. Everyone's been pretty cordial with him, except for, he says, House of Yahweh didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
They didn't want to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary. For her to talk to me, I was like, holy crap. Because she was on Survivor last season or 2 seasons ago.
Oh,
and
wow.
my boyfriend watches it and he was like, yo, I know you're starting this podcast. There's this Black woman on there that says, I was in a cult. So I looked her up and I was like, oh my God.
No way.
You have to talk to me. So I stalked her. I was like, I know this is weird.
Not that weird.
But we have to talk. And I was so grateful that she gave me the interview because I'm like, we have so much more in common. Because she would be like, yeah, we did this thing called The Feast. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's all the same stuff times squared, quadrupled, and now marry a child kind of thing.
I mean, it's like they have a playbook. I just, where did they get it? I don't, it like includes private jets and child marriage or rape. Like, why? Okay. There's probably reasons why we could figure out the psychology behind that. But.
Exactly.
Well, I'm happy you reached out to her. That's great. I mean, I kind of feel like we did the same thing to you. We're just like, LaNisa, Frederick, we're going to talk to them. We're going to talk. I'm just going to send her a random message and see.
I love it. No, when I was doing my research, that's how I found you guys and started following you and was like, I like them.
Oh, thank you.
I like them a lot. I like them a lot.
Appreciate you.
We try to inject a little humor in a space that can be far too dark and sad.
Exactly. Right. I overstand that. I overstand. And I've had fun.
Did you say overstand?
I overstand. I overstand it.
I like that.
I like that too.
Overstand.
Okay. I'm going to think about that. Thank you.
We're learning some positive, uplifting terminology from LaNisa.
Switch it up a bit. Sometimes it's up a bit.
That's great. I love it.
Like saying to live for instead of to die for. Yeah, why wouldn't we say that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great point. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm feeling so inspired.
Okay, good.
Well, so I want to make sure, LaNisa, that you can tell our listeners about all the really cool projects that you have going on in the world, whether they're your personal things or whether they apply to this cult survivor space.
Yeah, thank you. So first, I always just tell people, come and follow me, usually on Instagram at LaNisa Frederick. That's where you can find out, honestly, a lot of stuff about what I'm doing and what's going on. I did mention earlier, I just wrapped a really big show that I can't announce yet, but please be on the lookout. I'm very excited about that. And coming this upcoming year, 2025, end of January, we are releasing Black and Cultivated. And Black and Cultivated is a podcast where I do talk to Black and brown survivors of cults, to get the word out there, to get our voices out there, to make it a community a little less, a little more known for people, because it's stuff that we don't talk about it. a little less scary, more of a community. And that comes out in 2025, end of January. So I'm excited about that. Black and Cultivated. If you go to my Instagram at LaNisa Frederick, that's where you can find out more about that too. Those are the
And I will be putting all of her links in the description.
Yes, and I will share them all. Those are the big things that's going on. And yeah.
Yes.
And living life.
Yay, living it free.
Life free. Seriously.
Yes.
And without the threat of Armageddon, at least not in the way we once thought of it.
Exactly. Without figuring out, like, how am I getting to Petra? What? Is it first class? How are we going there?
Better be first class if we're elect, for fuck's sake.
Exactly. Right? But like, how does a plane have all first class seats? And how many planes are? I had so many questions about Petra.
Yeah.
Didn't get
We're
it.
Talking about God here.
Understandable.
Come on.
Right. Like, okay.
But Worldwide Church God did not like questions. So
Oh God, no.
We didn't expect them to get answered.
Oh no. Oh no. I remember people getting kicked out for challenging certain things. So yeah, you do not challenge.
Yeah.
Cult 101.
That was the philosophy. Yeah.
Well, no kidding. Cult 101 indeed. My goodness.
I read something interesting that in our Unpacked series, LaNisa, we are reading The Missing Dimension in Sex. Yes, the sex book that Armstrong wrote.
I think I have that one too. I haven't read it yet.
And Armstrong mentions that there's only 2 prescribed sex positions according to God. Yeah. We found, obviously, you got your missionary is one, but apparently someone stood up in church asking him, "Oh, what's the other position?" And Armstrong kicked him out. Like, "You're out of here." He was furious with him.
What?
Again, I've come across all kinds of stories in all the forums and everything that I did researching this timeline, and that was one of the things that came up. Talk about not being able to ask questions. It's in his book. What's the other position?
That's hilarious.
We have a good laugh about it. You can imagine the things. Yeah, we have fun in that series.
Oh my
God. Then you got to throw out what positions it might have been.
Right.
Yeah.
69. Is that safe? Is that
yeah, clear. It's that one. Yeah.
We figure it's probably not from behind.
Okay. One more question. I gotta explore because, like I said, I've had this one sitting in my bookshelf for a while, and I have Mystery of the Ages, and I haven't explored. I love that he has a signature there too. Like, yeah, guys, I've signed my book. Like,
wow,
love it. But I have a few others that I haven't picked up, and when I started doing my research, I was like, let me just grab everything, and I'll put it aside later. So I can't wait to listen to you guys' stuff. If you're dissecting the books, it's like a read along.
Yes.
It's
except we're highly inappropriate.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I'm down.
Highly.
It was a great book to start with. You're gonna hate that book, LaNisa. Yeah,
I can't wait to hate it.
It's absolutely disgusting. There were several paragraphs in there that, because some of the books I had to skim through a bit for this timeline, and I went through that one. I was like, what the hell is he talking about here? That the white strain is actually superior. He says he doesn't believe in race. He calls it a strain.
Strain.
A strain. Like,
interesting.
Like he said, the white strain was perfect of God, and then people decided to rebel against God's law and go beyond the borders and intermarry, and that's why, that's how we were. Isn't that disgusting?
A lot of when I was researching British Israelism, a lot of white right-wing groups that actually utilize that. And I was like, which is why everyone's like, when I tell people, I'm like, I was kind of like in this doomsday cult that was like white supremacists. They're like, wait, what? How? But he used a lot of that British Israelism doctrine to justify his stuff, which is absolutely insane.
Yep.
What?
I'm pretty sure Henry Ford did as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With all these anti-Jew doctrines that I forget what year that was, but It would have been
I
around.
did find some connection between Armstrong and the Dearborn Papers. So I mean, the link was not just like in the air. Like they were connected in some way. Surprise! I know. Yeah.
Yeah. That time period and everything. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, LaNisa, have you connected with Gerald Walker yet, the author?
I did not.
Okay.
I know the fire.
The Boyhood. What was the title? Growing up in a white supremacist cult. And so I think he's a college professor now. Yeah, Gerald Walker.
Yes.
So I'm nerdy. I have a whole spreadsheet of like people within the organization and out of it now. Like I try to keep track of like who all, has been through it so we can talk.
You two should exchange contacts a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who y'all might be
Oh my God, I'm so down for that. I wanted to. Are you in the Facebook group?
Herbert W. Armstrong.
No, that one I just found. The other one.
Oh, yeah.
There's Cult Survivor 1, and then let's see. Let me find which one.
I know there is a really big Armstrong one. But I think Armstrong got started because people were too Armstrong positive in some of the other groups.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And so then they're like Armstrong and they just make fun of him the whole time.
This one, Cult Survivors from Worldwide Church of God and their offshoots.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's how honestly I got a lot of my connections. I was like,
okay.
Which is it's an interesting place because there are a lot of older folks, and when I have brought up race, a lot of folks are like, oh my God, thank you for saying this, because we were shot down to talk about race. We were told like, no, keep that's different, blah, blah, blah. I was like, really? If you go through the threads and just like type in race, you'll see like people are like, thanks for finally bringing this up, because no one wants to talk about that part.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the white people probably shouldn't be the ones to bring it up necessarily either. Well, they should bring it up among themselves, I guess. But
let's have the conversation, yo. Let's have the conversation. But yeah, I hadn't reached out to Gerald. I remember seeing his book. I read some of it. And then by that point, I had folks that I'd already talked to. And I was like, all right, season 2.
Yeah.
We'll talk later.
It goes quickly, doesn't it? Like we're trying to interview so many people. You only have so much time, and then editing and getting it out and promotion. Whoo! Yeah, you're feeling it, aren't you?
A lot. I've learned a lot. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Our focus is mainly just putting a stop to religious organizations that are like high control, like cults.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be cult necessarily, because there's a lot of churches out there too that control people's lives in ways like you don't even see. So it doesn't even matter if someone's a Christian, or they're spiritual, or they're an atheist or agnostic, which is a lot of the space we also attract as well. So yeah, we're here for all of it. Just putting a stop to stop using things like religious books to control other people's lives.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, the control piece and the healing piece, right? On both sides of that. Like, see the control and get out. And if you're out, understand what was done to you and heal it. So you're not passing it on in your own life, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I wish my husband were here, because he's always been a big fan of Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. He loved Young Sheldon, I think, even more than
that's so funny.
Big Bang Theory.
That was a joy. It was fun.
I have to admit that caught my eye in your IMDb also, because my kids had a whole summer of being completely obsessed with those shows.
I love it. Oh my God, that's so fun.
I'm going to talk to someone who is in that show.
Thank you. I appreciate you. This was good.
Thank you so much, LaNisa. Oh, it was great to chat with you.
Anytime.
Congratulations on your new podcast and the new projects you're working on there in Hollywood.
And the wrap on your latest show. Congratulations. I'm sure you're so glad to be done too.
Oh my God. I can breathe.
I know you were so busy. Wow. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. I know you were so busy and just wrapped up with this project. So congrats on that. We'll keep an eye on it.
Awesome. Thank you guys.